So good. And then I can't let you guys leave without asking this really important question that I think might be on some people's minds because we see it online all the time. This is a question that I get when people see me wearing my weighted vest. They're like, what weight should I wear? What is the right weight? What's too heavy? What's too light? And Brent and the Ion team has taken a lot of care in choosing I think what is the perfect weight. But what would you say to people that are arguing on the internet of like how much weight they should be wearing?
Well, never, ever, ever more than 10% of your body weight. I mean, once you start to exceed that, now you actually change the trajectory of the load. So now actually the load.
So for our men and women in the military.
Inertia. Yeah, well, our men and women in the military.
There you go.
Yeah, and everybody's back shot, and so are their ankles and their knees. So we, one of the interesting perspectives, I also sit on the board of the NFL Alumni Association. I'm their health services director. So we have 22,000 retired athletes in our organization. The biggest issue that they struggle with, the number one issue, is repetitive use injuries, right? And people think, well, you take care of the NFL Alumni Association. It's probably a bunch of old retired men. The average retirement age in the NFL is 25 years old. So that's the average age of retirement. So, and repetitive use injuries come from progressively overloading the body over a prolonged period of time. And so I understand they have to train for certain positions. You got to squat heavy. You have to have, strength in your quads. But I think we're beginning to rethink the difference between functional strength and just raw brute strength. I mean, you have most athletes. I mean, if you look at the greatest of all time, take a Tom Brady, for example. He was not the strongest quarterback. He wasn't the biggest quarterback. He wasn't even the most athletic quarterback. What made the difference between Tom and every other quarterback was his timing, right? I mean, hand-eye coordination, speed, timing, and agility. I think you're going to see a whole shift in training go to functional movements. I mean, just 20 years ago, they didn't even position train athletes. Quarterbacks train like linebackers. Women all train the same way. So this allows you to functionally train in whatever sport. If you're doing yoga, great. You can weight yoga. If you're doing strength training, great. You can weight strength training. If you're actually looking to increase your vertical, you can actually weight your vertical. And that's what I love about this. It actually applies across the chance of increasing the repetitive use injuries is very, very low.
And I'll piggyback on that because you're 100% right. Like as far as like the functional strength versus what, brute strength that you would call it, it's just different now. Don't get me wrong. We have to have a baseline. We need guys to be strong because it is a very physical game. But I mean, once we hit that baseline, the idea that we're chasing PRs is non-existent. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is we're loading up and we're working repetitive movements that are applicable to their position and their job. And then we do it over and over and over again. We got to learn how to start and stop, right? And one of the biggest things that I've been seeing is putting the vest on and then having us do deceleration drills is one of the biggest hacks to helping guys not get hurt during change of direction in an uncontrolled environment that is the NFL. Non-contact injuries that rip up knees, ankle. We just seen it, Malik Neighbors the other day, great wide receiver for the New York Giants, just tore his ACL in MetLife, which I'm going to go ahead and say it's MetLife. But you see it all the time. Odell Beckham a couple of years ago, Super Bowl, ran a crossing route, having a hell of a game, and there goes his ACL, right? So you start thinking about acceleration, absorption, deceleration, and how can we actually aid these guys. It's probably not a PR on a squat. It probably is functional strength. It probably is being stronger and having the ability to absorb that power and explosiveness that they are now working through over and over again. And if we can have a tool, again, that we can load up, freely do those movements without thinking about it, that's a big part about it. It's almost annoying. They're like children, the way that whenever you do have a distal point loaded anything, you got to keep reminding them, like, hey, I don't care about that. I'm focusing on this. Hey, stop worrying about that. Focus on this. And then, you put the vest on, the very first reaction you're going to get is a couple of colorful words, as they say, it's tight, but that's intentional. And then 5 minutes later, we're into the drill work and we're 100% focused on what we're trying to get accomplished that day. So
I think everybody's an athlete, right? But it's different degrees. Life is the sport, and we're talking about elite athletes here. But you think about general population, and probably most of the trainers here, you train a lot more gen pop than you do elite athletes. It's a great tool for the deloading week, whether that's the week that they just can't make it in the gym or the week that they travel and they say, I'm going to be away, I probably won't get to my workouts. Or what we hear outside of New York is, I'm going to New York, so I'll walk a lot. Okay. I know where you're walking to lunch. Okay, I know where you're walking. But it's an easy ask to say, take your vest. and just do all of it in the vest. So yes, you could play with the words with it. It's a loaded deloading week, but it's such a moderate load and it's such a manageable load. And if you don't know this, it goes through TSA, not just this one, but the other one goes right through TSA. No problem. I've traveled internationally with it. I've traveled locally with it. I've traveled in America with it, domestically, all the time. Gary too, yeah. Probably can speak to that better than I can, but it's not a problem. So it's an easy ask for Gen Pop to keep up with their training, and they will come back having not trained, but trained at a certain level that they will still reap benefits. So factor that in when you're pitching it.
Awesome. So Kelly's telling me that we're done. So can everybody give a standing ovation, round of applause for our panel?